Not a day that ends in Y that I don't use the clapper to start my show. Hello, everyone. I'm Mia Voss. You're watching the Mia Connect Power Chat. We're also streaming live over here on Meerkat, if you can believe that, because I figured, hey, what the heck? Let's try and bring in a bunch of stuff and break some shit. So, starting off with a swear word. How you like that? Listen, today we are talking about spirit, spirituality, chakras, meditation, breathing, and everything else in between, because it's all going to lead to a healthier life, which I'm loving. And I've got two amazing guests. Have you seen them in the film strip? Wave, my guests, my darlings. Yay! They are silent but deadly, and they're not going to be silent for long. Listen, guess what's working today, by the way? Comment Tracker is actually working. Can you believe? Look at this. Let's see how long before it breaks. Stan Bush, he got a seat. He brought the wine, cheese, and bacon. Hello. Hello, all. You know, Stan, you had us at bacon. So then there's that. We also have, oh, Cheryl, she made it. She feels like coming home. Hey, Dave Pipe, is there a seat next to you? I love them both. Dave Pipe is like, let's give little Dave Pipe a hand real quick. Hold on. Let me get my clapper out. You know what? Yeah, I'm just going to do it that way. We're going to clap. Old school. What, my hands don't work? Nazim is here. Hi, brother. Coming in from Milan. I also have Pio Dalsin is here. We got a lot of Italian over here. I do believe you can actually make this one nobody touch anything. That's very, very true. All right, Marcus Dieterle, it's good to see you. It seems the front row is filling up, he says, and he is right. And again, go over and watch it on Meerkat if you want to see the back of my head, pretty much. So there's that. Oh, look who's here. My twinsy. Oh, girlfriend, I still have my necklace on in the front row with coffee in hand. Wink, wink. She's ready to get her learn on. I will say I saw that you posted a coffee mug that said there may be wine in this glass. I'm just saying. I agree 100%, and I do have my necklace on still. And we also have our sister here in Denver, Yvonne DeVita. You have the best shows. This one is especially valuable to me at this time. Can't wait. Guys, what do you think, my panel? Do you feel like there's a disturbance in the force in a good way, because I have to reference Star Wars, of what's going on in the world lately, just to dive into it, and then we'll get into intros. Give us your quick feedback on what you think is going on out there on a spiritual level.
I absolutely have been feeling this quickening and this accelerated pace of evolution, and it's kind of hard to decide, like, for how long? For the last 2 years? For the last 6 months? I don't know. All I know is that anything that's not in alignment with love, with me operating at my highest level, with being on purpose, is coming up and is not going away.
Gotcha. And when you say coming up, do you feel like it's up and out? Like, okay, like your universe is almost just not letting you get away with the crap that used to be able to get away with that wasn't aligned with you, right?
Exactly. It's like
there used to be a rug and a broom that you could sweep stuff under, and then one morning we woke up and we're like,
what the?
Gone.
It's like the Big Lebowski when they take the rug. It really tied the room together, but you could sweep a lot of crap underneath it.
And just to build on what Julia was saying, my beloved and I sat with Wayne Dyer here in Denver a couple of weeks ago, and one of his core messages was, are you hearing or listening to the call, capital T, your heart's call, the universe, God's call? And, man, the trumpets are blowing, and people are hearing it. And sometimes it manifests as just a general unease or restlessness.
Yes.
The more present we are to ourselves, or the more curious we are, the more we're hearing the specifics of that. So there's a lot of movement. There's a lot of change, a lot of dissolution of old relationships, cleaning house, weeding the garden. And our job is just to figure out, have as much fun as we can, and enjoy the ride.
You know, I love that. I think a lot of people don't understand, or we forget that there really is about having a fun factor to it. You guys know that my show, or anything I do, even in business, that shit's got to be fun. And Lee, thank you for saying rude words right off the bat. He's hooked on the Voss. Thank you for confirming that you can be spiritual. I mean, literally on my Facebook page, by the way, it says, I'm spiritual, not religious, spiritual, not churchy, and I like to swear a lot. So now you guys know. But, you know, I love that. I think it is about just, like, yeah, has to be a fun factor to it, but we're all on raising the consciousness. So you guys are getting a taste already of what's going on. Let me read a couple more comments. Georgie Green, I'm going to have you introduce yourself, and then let's say hi to Okazi Kieze. They're all talking to each other. We've got 24 people. So you on Meerkat, let's see where you're at, because we want to shout you out. Yeah, La Boomba. A few more. Mel, I love him to bits. Good day, everyone, and greetings from Brooklyn. Yeah, in the house. That is awesome. And my girl Carmen is here from Spain. She just slid in. She just flew in, and boy, are her arms tired. Excellent. And hey, let's give a shout out to everybody over in the UK. I'm sure you got a little bit of a election hangover, so we feel for you. If they didn't vote the way you wanted, we feel for you, and if they did, I'm sorry. Just kidding. How about that? All right, so George E. Green, let's talk about you. You are here in Boulder. You are my warrior man. What's going on? Let's hear about you.
I am George E. Green, CEO and creator of the Mindfulness Advantage Advanced Mentoring and Training Systems. And what's going on is we're figuring it out, and we're running along with each other, having fun, and getting reels.
For realsies?
For realsies, yeah. So one of the things I love to do is work with and play and collaborate with people like you and a lot of our friends in the audience, because part of what we're talking about with the call is what is inside of you that's dying to come out, that's living and breathing to come out. What is it that you're here to do or here to create? And it's all about living an exceptional life and a magnificent life. And we just don't have any more wiggle room to settle anymore. So it's time, as they say, as the young kids say, to bust a move.
I'm telling you, not bust a move. Not bust a nut, bust a move. Tell me real quick.
Hello.
Well, it's my show. We get a little saucy. You know this. So tell me real quick, can you give us some information or give me a little background on how you got to be the Georgie Green and what, give me some little backstory on you, if you don't mind. We're going to pick your brain, darling.
Be happy to. I've been really a student of presence. I was always attracted to the ways of Zen, where they pour themselves in every moment. There's no such thing as an ordinary moment, not only for Zen, but warriors of any kind. I went through, as a student of Native American, a Lakota medicine interpreter, year-long training and warrior training, which had nothing to do with masculinity. In fact, it's more about nurturing the feminine spirit and being an intercessor for peace and being committed to service. And my teacher, quite interestingly, in a patriarchal, patrilineal society, Lakota society, was a woman. And she was a mixed breed, so she was controversial to begin with. And part of her teaching, her core teaching, was, why are you here? And she would get up in our grill to remind us, if you're not on purpose, if you don't know why you're here, then you might as well just check out, go home, take your bags and go home. So I was a great fan of Eckhart Tolle when he came out with the book, The Power of Now. And also my own personal journey, I was one of those people that could not shut my head off. So I would race, I would stare at the ceiling at night, and I started looking at first technologies to slow my brain down. And finally, I fell in love with a woman who was a Vipassana freak. She would go on these 8-day Vipassana retreats where she would sit still in meditation for 8 hours. And she finally got me to sit still. She had a nail.
What, for like 5 minutes?
No, she had to nail both my feet to the ground, but it had such a profound effect on me. And so I've made a career out of inviting and playing with people and helping them learn how to get back in their bodies, back in their hearts. And we live in a culture that's immersed in massive distraction. We think multitasking is an attribute, where actually multitasking diminishes our ability to complete things and focus. And the more we're in our bodies and the more we focus on what it is we're here to do or what our highest desires are, the greater our potential is for fulfillment and fruition. So, and I tell everybody that I play and work with that we're doing it together. So what I teach is what I practice every day.
And I can vouch for that. I will say, however, those of you that are back there on Meerkat, they can see me multitasking like a mofo. That's the only time it works is when you're running one of these shows.
Unavoidable.
Yeah, I look like the Shiva with the 8 arms, wherever that is. So love that. Mel really loves a comment that you made about there's no such thing as an ordinary moment. And guys, we're going to dive into this more. I know this sounds like really deep diving woo-woo, and it is, but it really is for your everyday person, because right now, as some of you may know, I am doing the training. I'm actually training with both George and Julia, so I just brought my gurus on the show. So, because they're my favorites. So let's jump over to my girl, Julia, and let's give a shout out to Denise Wakeman, who is the reason why I know you, Julia.
Yes, that is so perfect, and I love Denise. So I am really honored to be here and really honored to share with everybody watching. My journey started with a huge heartbreak around 16 years ago, and it cracked me open. And I can now look back and say it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Thank God, because before that I was completely asleep. I just had no clue. And so that started me on my journey of seeking, really because I was seeking relief. I was seeking healing because it was just so painful. And so I started reading books and connecting with different spiritual teachers. And then I had created a consulting business doing business consulting in my previous life. I used to do operations in the medical device industry. And so I had thought, well, I think I'm going to be happy if I do this as a consultant and I can set my own schedule and I'll make more money and I'll have more freedom. And I did all that and I wasn't happy. And I'm like, there must be something more. And I think that divine discontent is what's been stirring for a big wave of people lately. It's like, this stuff that makes money and it's good work. I mean, medical devices help people. I work with great people. But that's not my purpose. I've got something bigger that I'm here to do. And so I started on this quest to find my purpose. And I kept like reading all these things and looking at all these different life coaches. This is back in 2000. Life coaching wasn't as well known and prominent as it is now.
Right.
I kept reading all these things. I thought maybe these coaches are going to help me. And then I read something that said, pay attention to what you're naturally attracted to. I thought, well, I'm real attracted to all this self-help stuff.
Right.
So I ended up finding a spiritual coaching training program. It was a year long. I discovered it. I was guided to it 4 days before it started. They'd already closed the applications and everything. And so I applied, I was accepted, and that really started my personal growth journey because, the joke's on my ego. I thought I was going to do this training, to help those people. Well, it turns out,
whoops.
Those ones who need help. So it turns out that in this training program, 80% of the work was me doing my own personal development work. So
you're like, psych.
I totally got turned inside out in the best possible way. So that's how I started learning about things like shadow beliefs and self-imposed limitations and hidden commitments and these things that are internal, these false beliefs that get created because of things that happen in our lives, and then they end up running us like malware, some kind of software that's running in the background. We don't even know it's there, and it can really mess us up, and we can just keep bumping up against obstacles and we don't know why.
I love that analogy, by the way, the malware. It's very true. You're like, there's a source that's not working. You can't really tell, right?
Yeah, and it's invisible until you get the tools, you work with someone, you read the books, and all of a sudden you realize, oh my gosh, that's what I've been doing. So this journey is it's been about energy, it's been about spirit. I've done different things along the way. I found pranic healing in 2008, and that has absolutely changed my life because that brings in the energy healing piece. And also there's a spiritual development track that runs along with that in addition to the healing modality. And so that's my spiritual practice now and my spiritual school to help me stay connected to my higher soul, to source all that is, so that as I'm using these tools and helping other people, that I can be coming from the highest place in service to God and humanity.
Oh, you can't hear. Boom, throws down the mic, walks off the stage. I had myself muted. I got so into it. You know, this is something that I love, and it's resonating for a lot of people over here in the comments. So if you guys want to, if you guys have anything specific for our guests, they're all yours, just so you know. That's why I brought some here for you today. But I love that, George. I think you and I were in the middle of a session when I had that sort of reality check of like this work that you do, that for people that are in this spirit-driven work, it's literally coming through you. So it's not like a consultant where you're just doing the work and it's, you know, oh, I'm performing this service or I'm putting together this product. It's literally you are the conduit for that work.
Are you talking about me, or are you talking about you or us together?
All you as the work that you do. That was a realization that I had of like, wow, you know, you have to be. This is literally work that's like you're getting the benefit when you're working with people too.
And just to add to and refine that definition, which is great and an apt definition, is like Julie, I came from the corporate world. I was in the computer industry for 7 years and manufacturers rep, things that seem antithetical to what people consider the spirit world. And the reality was that I was, you know, working inside sales support at Hallmark Electronics while I was studying under my Lakota teacher. And I had to reconcile a perception of polarity between that world, computers and business and wingtips and you know, briefcases, and you know, Tatanka, you know, hanging out with full blood Indians and doing things like Sweat Lodge. And the reality is, one of the examples that I benefited from was being able to sit with grandmothers and grandfathers, Lakota elders, who were born into their way of being in relationship with creation and creator, where they all lived with a foot in both worlds, one foot in spirit and one foot in the physical world. That's how we are to begin with. So yes, there are things that are falling off my desk.
That's the best blooper ever.
Speaking of spirit, somebody just tried to get my attention. So things do come through me. I'm very intuitive, and I've been an intuitive counselor for 33 years. But also, what I bring to the party is common sense, which is so rare these days that it's more like a superpower, and a great sense of logic and strategy. So the reality is, a lot of people have sort of a pigeonholed idea of spirit or spirituality, and the reality is what I teach is based in science first and foremost, and it creates the bridge between the physical and the spiritual. And it's all about getting back in our bodies and being mindful and paying attention. And
very simple. It's really some simple principles, and I do love that it is scientific as well. I was just watching that movie because Bill Reed told me to. What the Bleep Do We Know? Mm-hmm. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's really, really interesting on that point too. Let me give a shout out to a couple people. Let me see how we're doing over on Meerkat. We got 37 people. Hey. 3 here now. So, hey guys, what's up on spirituality? I think that I love this point too. Margarita, loved your point about nailing your feet down, by the way, Georgie, which we thought was great. Kim Armstrong, welcome, sweetie. I don't know what's going on with Google. You didn't get reminded, but we're happy to see you now. We always love seeing you. And then, Bill wanted to ask what you all think of A Course on Miracles. I'm just going to veer for a second because I want to make sure the audience is involved here too. Do you want to address that real quick?
I love A Course in Miracles, and it's part of. I'm really more of a universal spiritual person, so I study everything. I love A Course in Miracles. I love the esoteric teachings. So Course in Miracles is also very practical, and it's that we're either coming from fear or love. And so we can approach every day, every interaction, choosing love. And one of the things that I noticed people like Marianne Williamson and Gabby Bernstein, who are teachers of A Course in Miracles, they talk about with spirituality is, I unapologetically stand in my spiritual truth, and I share what I believe about that. And I love that word because I think it's time to take the judgment off of woo-woo and make it super practical. And just like George was saying, remember that this is something, as we're walking through the world in our day-to-day life, that we can be grounded in. It's not either or, it's both and. I mean, this is part of where we're going here with unity consciousness, is stepping away from duality and making something's right and something's wrong, and recognizing we can have it all. And we can make money, we can be prosperous, we can have a wonderful lifestyle, we can make a difference in the world. All those things require lower chakra action. They require will. They require us to get up and do things. And at the same time, we can connect to spirit, to our higher guidance, so that we're receiving the inspiration about what actions to take. So it's both. It's all of that. So I just, A Course in Miracles is, it's one of those great things that I come back to time and time again, and I love Gabby and Marianne, and Marianne actually does free live streams on Monday nights where she lectures on A Course in Miracles. If anyone wants to check that out at mariannewilliamson.com.
So what I love too, and Georgie, I want to hear your opinion on that too. We're getting a lot of different questions, which I love. This is something I've learned from working with both of you. I think that just like any kind of workout program or any kind of personal program, it really is putting it together what works for you. I know some days I do chakra meditations, every day I do the spherical breathing that I learned from you, George. Julia, we do pranic healing, and I really think it's just like it depends on the day, and then it's really is what works for you. So I think talk a little bit about how people can choose what works best so they don't get sort of overwhelmed, or they end up doing something that works better for someone else on a spiritual plane, either from meditating. Like, give us a little guidance on how we can ground ourselves to then choose the right things that we should be doing spiritually. It's a big question.
I'd love to. First and foremost, one of the things that we're here to learn is to remember and be present to ourselves in our hearts. We're so busy, we're so distracted on the external, and then on the internal we will distract and redirect our attention away from what scares us the most, which is our effing fulfillment, period. So we are creatures of pattern and habit. That's how we learn. But it's also how our shadow, our familial programming, our family of origin issues drive us and rule us and control us. So first and foremost, like for instance, how you and I began to play, I have a very basic daily practice that's transformational. It's a mindfulness practice, and I teach people like you how to breathe spherically. That's how we used to breathe when we first came out of our mother's belly. Now, all that does, and there's science to back this up, is get us back in our body and out of fight or flight or survival mode, which unfortunately, whether we like it or not, we are all in some relative state of fight or flight because of the culture, the crazy, cray-cray culture that we live in. So first and foremost, find someone who isn't going to lay down a cookie-cutter plan to you and say, this is how you're going to be or this is how you're going to act. What I love to do is meet people where they are, and first and foremost, even in our intro session, find out what are your top 3 outcomes. What are you on fire about? Or if you're not, would you like to be on fire and passionate? And from there, we build a strategy moving forward one step at a time. We create a strategy where you can have success, where you can have a victory every day and still stretch. One of the things that we do as people is we'll dream big, and then when we don't get to that dream in 1 or 2 days, we fall back to old habits, and that's in NLP they call that too big of a chunk size. So part of our strategy for winning and for thriving is, what's your stretch today? Embrace something that you resist actively, because usually any stretch, any movement towards your outcome and fulfillment, there's going to be unconscious resistance. So, and then as far as knowing what works for you, you've got to slow it down and pay attention enough to listen to your own inner intelligence rather than, and you know, that's the other thing about sort of the woo-woo, new age, new thought culture is there are too many people who will just offer up their opinions, or you need to do this or you need to do that. We're overwhelmed by that already from our friends. And you've got to be mindful and back in your relationship with yourself so that you can have some sense of inner compass as to what direction feeds you and feeds your desires and your greater purpose for being here.
I agree, and I'm loving. I just had this conversation actually with Denise Wakeman. We were talking about this before jumping on this show. I think that also goes in line with the intuition, the gut level, especially just being quiet enough. And I think that you can't really hear a lot of that gut level, small voice of like, oh gosh, this maybe not be the right thing if you're so overwhelmed. And of course, a lot of us out there being in social media, so we're just in a barrage of information and opinion and direction, and you should try this, or top 5 steps to XYZ. So I think that's the unplugging is probably a big component to this as well, of when a lot of these teachers or masters started centuries ago, they had distractions, but nothing like we have today. So it's even more challenging to do that for sure. So let me ask here's a quick question, and Julia, if you want to pipe in this one too. This is from Margarita, and I love this. It's kind of in line with what we were just talking about. How can an ordinary person reach spiritual awareness in this commercial, money-driven reality? Good luck with that.
That's an easy one to answer.
Right. I got drop out, get drunk. I don't know. Yay wine.
I think
yay wine.
it goes to finding a spiritual practice with which you resonate, following what George said, and I would add to that, I go with how my body feels, how my solar plexus feels. If it feels relaxed, if it feels calm and at peace, I know I'm on the right track. I know that I've got the right teaching, the right person that I'm working with. It's really about how, do I feel at peace? And because what I think is that this higher part of me is sending me signals and letting me know if my body is kind of the GPS system. And so it does take getting quiet to be able to tune into that. But just notice, like, do I feel expansive around this person? Or when I learn about these teachings, do I feel peaceful and calm? Or is there something that feels a little bit tense? The only caveat to that is sometimes, when the ego's getting triggered, it does want to run the other way. So it's like, whoa, I'm going to lose control here. Hey, don't do that spiritual stuff. Don't do that. So,
yeah. You're right. That's a good distinction on that too.
In terms of bringing it into day-to-day, once you've found your path, I think it can really be as simple as starting with 5 minutes a day, even for 5 minutes in the morning, just focusing on your breath. 5 minutes at night, you can just imagine emptying out, just kind of letting everything go down through your spine, through a grounding cord, down into the earth.
Love it. I love, and this is something I love from working with both of you. It started with these very simple practices because it can be so overwhelming. And I will say the practice you're saying of like feeling the energy or listening to your voice, that does take a little bit because I think sometimes our cortisol levels are so high, like everything's just like, shit, like I can't pay attention. It's so much to it. Real quick, and we're going to come back to this question towards the end of it. But Mel was asking if he had one question to ask: is what one nugget of wisdom do you hope that we take away from this conversation? Mel, I'm going to say I think what Julia just said is start one of a couple different nuggets of really just these small bites to it as well. Which I just need to point out real quick. Look how gorgeous George's hair looks, by the way. Your hair looks so pretty today. It is. Let's take it to the fun level. Okay, so let me ask you both this, and let me bumper real quick. If you're just tuning in, you're watching the Mia Connect Power Chat. Today I have Julia Aspinwall. Look at her. And George E. Green. Look at him. We're talking about woo-woo spirit, all that good stuff. So here's a question, and I have a feeling it's a common thing, but it seems like a lot of times in order to really make that change to getting spiritually aligned, crazy stuff has to happen to you. Julia, I know you mentioned that for yourself you got broke open. I love that phrase, with a certain situation. So talk a little bit on that. Maybe we can help people avoid having to hit complete rock bottom in order to start getting a consciousness level raised up.
Well, I would love to.
Look at both of you are like, yes. Go ahead.
Love to help people avoid hitting rock bottom because that's no fun. I think it goes with listening to those nudges, and because the universe does give us those signals, and if we spend that 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night to start to slow down and to tune into ourselves, we can start noticing the yellow flags, the orange flags, the red flags. We can start hearing those nudges that are saying, you really need to make a change over here. And if we don't listen, then the cosmic 2x4 happens. The rug gets pulled out from under us, and that's no fun. So it's, definitely just listening to the whisperings when it's a little bit more gentle, and then we can be proactive.
Yes.
The right changes.
I do say listen to the whisper or get hit with the brick. Georgie, jump in on that one.
Here, talking about what nugget to take away, we are constantly narrating our lives, and most of the time we're doing that unconsciously. And so that makes us unconscious authors of our now, our reality, our future, and our past. And when we're operating unconsciously, it's our past that's directing us and influencing us and filtering every experience we have. So my invitation to myself, first and foremost, is wake the F up, stay in my body, practice being mindful in the moment. And this is a meme that we keep pinging every day that we connect, and that is, your outcome, my outcome, is to be so present in my body that I can recognize two things. That's all I have to pay attention to. Am I stepping into and towards my greatest outcomes and my fulfillment, or apart from and away from? And so when we start to build a resource of mindfulness and awareness, we realize that we can claim our authority and authorship over the lives we desire to live now. And so what I would say to anybody who's invested in suffering or a cray-cray or a crisis happening, in order for you to liberate yourself, I would say, how's that story working for you? Because you're either scared shitless or you're not moving at all. You're avoiding any movement that will create evolution, shift, and change, because you're operating from fear, again, rather than presence and love and choice. Now, I'll refer back to one of our first processes where I walked you through a visceral experience in your imagination, Mia, of consciously setting down burdens that were on your back like a monkey.
Yes.
And you were given an opportunity to drop half off or all of it, and you had a visceral experience through your choice of absolute liberation. And friends, I'll tell you, we were doing this on a private hangout, and what I love to see is when someone's visage, their person and personality and spirit just melts and softens, okay? So there's an example. Mia chose to simply let the burdens that were on her back slide off and land on the ground with a thud. Did that hurt?
Mm-mm.
Did it feel good?
Oh, yeah.
Did you feel your strength? Did you feel like running straight up a hill? Yes, you did. So there's a meme for everybody to imagine and associate into, that whatever your outcome is, whatever your dream, your vision, your issue that you want to master, there, at least on my playground, I invite everybody to consider there's only two ways we play. One is easy, and the second one is easier.
I love that.
Yeah.
I was thinking
Boomba.
like nice and real nice, which is awesome.
Right.
I'm loving to, and this is just on a personal note. I think that a lot of times with society, we have a society of outrage, of just like, can you believe, and or as I like to say, can you believe what this bitch said? Like I'll admit it. There's a certain amount of satisfaction on that, and some of the training that's been fun is really to just sort of let that go. It's juicy at first, to kind of get into that space of outrage, but boy, the amount of energy that you save when you're just really more moving past that and moving into your purpose. And this is my little soapbox, just so you know.
Save and reclaim. That's the important thing. Is that, all of a sudden, everything that got sucked into your narrative, you're being engaged in horn locking or arm wrestling, suddenly is available for you to redirect into what do you want to create.
The narrative, I love that phrase. That's a really huge one too, because that's what it really is in your head, party people. We know there's like a bunch of monkeys chattering in there. And I'm gonna segue real quick, because I love the idea too. And this was something that I actually struggle with, is about spirituality, because all of us were raised with a certain religion. For me personally, I was raised in the craziest born-again Christian cult you can imagine. How about that? So it's always been a struggle for me. I've loved that I've been able to retain spirituality. I love praying. I love prayer. I love a lot of the different religions. But Julia, I think you helped me understand this too, especially with pranic, is that a lot of times on that spiritual plane, all these different spiritual leaders are all gathered together. So you're going to have Buddha and all the different ones, like, they're not fighting. And I love that idea that you can sort of drop that burden off too, of like, oh gosh, I can only be spiritual if it's to this particular higher deity.
Absolutely, because through the principle of oneness, all the great masters, all the holy gurus, all the holy angels, the archangels, the spiritual teachers, they're all one. And it's, everybody's working in service for the upliftment of humanity. And boy, are they giving us a lot of help right now. And that's why the shit's been hitting the fan. So it might seem like that's not really helpful. Like, I don't need that kind of help. But it actually is, because it's this clearing process, so we get more connected to the truth of who we really are.
Mm-hmm.
We're releasing those burdens and the malware and the unconscious programming and the self-imposed limitation, so that we can really step out and say, right, I'm a powerful creator. And to what you were talking about the, kind of letting go the, judgment and gossip and that kind of thing, whatever we focus on will grow. So making sure that we're focusing our attention, our conscious awareness on that which we would like to experience more of, on that which we are creating, that which we would like to materialize in our life, is paramount.
Yes, and I love that too. Now that you're going back to the ego thing, there's sure, you can be right about it, and you can sit in there with your little spiritual dirty diaper and be right. And How you like that analogy? That was a good one. Nazim had a quick comment, and he and I actually talked about this when I were visiting. I love my spiritual brother, Nazim, and his wife Betty actually did some chakra readings on me too. So it's all over the world, and I love it. But he asked about family constellations. I don't know if either of you are familiar with that at all. It's called family constellations. I think it's a form of healing, and Nazim, you can ping in here too. It's more of a form of healing, I think, for going back sort of almost more into like what your family history is, what you've been carrying with you. So I love it that there's a lot of different things that people can do. You just choose what's working for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And just to circle back a little bit to the idea, I almost said issue, and conscious language, let's agree it's an idea rather than an issue that we can argue, debate, or anything else. So many wars, so much genocide and patricide and matricide was performed on this planet because of a difference in perception of God. And what I want to know is, do you love your God? Do you love being in relationship with your God? You know, we're steeped in judgment these days, and greater polarization. There's less and less partnership and collaboration and community, and it's a human concept of right rather than righteous. Okay, and I know that flies in the face of a lot of people who are steeped in or invested in the dogma of their particular faith and religion. And I wonder if some of, as you call deities, came back, how we would get schooled by them.
I think it would look like this. What the hell's wrong with you guys? I think that's how it would go down.
Right? Like you get a memo in the mail from God saying, what, WTF, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or probably more of a WTAF. What the actual is going on here, baby?
Right.
We would get probably the big, grand, universal angel bitch slap, which I love. We're coming up on 42 past the hour, so we're going to start wrapping up in a little bit. I want to go through a couple more comments, which, Georgie, I absolutely love that. Stan Bush, my brother, love you to bits. Whatever we focus on will grow. Great thought. It really is. It's so elementary, but I love it. Now, here's a couple more things. My girl, Kim, great comment and question. Oh, I'm going to need those lessons hard as the 2016 campaigns get geared up. My rage gets stoked daily. Clearly, I even, commented about the UK the elections that happened yesterday, which is everybody's pretty polarized on that too. That is a great point. Do you guys have any advice for us to calm our happy asses down?
Well, when it comes to rage, I'll just talk to the last comment. Here's the invitation. It's rage born on a stage, and the stage is duking it out based on difference, when the reality is behind the scenes is there's very little difference. It's just people jockeying for control, okay? And so if you get caught up in the rage against the liberals, or I'm going to show my colors here, the wingnut far right, you're sucked into their game, okay? First and foremost, there's some stuff going on down in Texas where the people in Texas think they're going to be invaded by the government and the army, and it's just off the chain. First, we have to bless those people and have compassion for them.
Because I would want them to do the same for me, just saying.
Right, exactly. I don't have the available time or energy to get engaged in some sort of arm wrestling, horn locking, pee-pee contest with people who aren't in agreement with me. What I'm committed to doing is finding people who are of like mind and playing with them, and let's figure out how we can leave a legacy, how we can make this world better. Because if you get caught up in the theater of what's going on and how we're being exposed or indoctrinated through the media, then you're lost. And I'm too busy creating my own miracles and building my own visions what is it? Buckminster Fuller, I'm paraphrasing, said, "You don't fight against the existing model. You create a new one that makes the old one obsolete." So,
Ooh, I love him.
so if you want to invest in doing battle against the monolithic structures of our society, good luck, Don Quixote, because you're going to get your ass whooped. There are a lot of people who are working in the background right now, and they're building new structures and new ways of relating and playing and collaborating that are working and will be sustainable. So allow yourself a few minutes of rage and then cut that shit loose and go have some fun.
Ugh. Now you guys know why I work with George. Hey, calms my happy ass down 24/7, just so you know. I love this. La Boomba. I love this comment from my brother Mike John. Hey, what's up, Emmy? Good stuff. So many of these principles have been present for thousands of years in traditional religions. The power of prayer is all about silence, listening, thankfulness, and connecting with others. Mike John needs to just throw down the mic. That was awesome. And I love. Let's address this one if we have a second. What about dreams? How do they figure in the mix? What should we do with or about them? It's a good question. And then we're going to start talking about what's on the bottom. Dreams. Anybody have any comments on that one?
I am not an expert on dreams. I think they're multifaceted. So, sometimes I think it's processing of different things, different issues, different emotions. Sometimes I think it can be inspiration and guidance. Sometimes it's clearing. Well, listen to me. Now I'm talking about dreams like I know something about it.
Yeah, that's what. But you do, actually. I think that you do. I think it's that this is how they work for you.
Right. So, but I think there's a lot to dream interpretation, and I don't think there's a formula like it's always like this. I think
none of it is. Right?
Exactly. Exactly.
I think too, real quick on that, Georgie, if you want to pipe in, but I think for empaths, I don't know what percentage of the world you think are empaths, you guys, but I will say that every empath has a different way that they get their intuition. I know mine is definitely just more of intuitive. I get a feeling when I'm talking to people. Some people do have visions. They do have dreams. My aunt is an empath through dreams. So I think it's just finding what your strength is.
Newsflash, whatever the number of people who are walking on the planet today, that's how many empaths we have on the planet. If you have a heart, and this is science now, if you have a heart, you're an empath.
I love it.
And the reality is that and this is a measurable field, the heart generates a bioelectric and biomagnetic field that is as much as 24 feet in diameter. And it contains your code, whatever your thoughts and feelings and emotions are, and we're walking around awash in that sort of thing. So what I want to say about dreams is, one, her question may be about the sleeping dreams, or it may be about the waking dreams, which is, what is your dream, what is your vision, what's your passion, what's your secret desire that you won't let anybody know, that you like when I was a kid, I wanted to be an astronaut. I was so effing pissed when they landed on the moon in 1969. I was like, how am I gonna get? I wanted to be the first guy there. So, and here's the reality: we have an ability to sit with ourselves, to slow ourselves down. Meditation, already the science of meditation shows that we transform our brains, and we can do so with 10 minutes a day in 8 weeks. We can shrink the part of our brain that's responsible for your hair being on fire, fight or flight, the amygdala, and grow your hippocampus, which has to do with how you relate to yourself, your decision making, by 25%. When we train ourselves to be awake and in the dream state, which is the depth of meditation, we're learning how to lucid dream while we're awake. It's called lucid living. And so whether you're sleeping or you're awake, when we're in a dream state, you're accessing a part of your consciousness, and this is part of my playground in training, that is unfettered and unsullied by our waking investment in limit. And how many people have dreamed or imagined of doing something and then stumbled? or had someone, including themselves, say, you can't, that's impossible. And look at every example of excellence, of mastery, of artisans and maestros and magicians. They all just kept saying, yes, I can. They kept dreaming and holding a vision of their outcome until that was the singular consciousness that became their native mode. So I'd say dream big and play all in.
Oh, I love it. Now, now you guys got the little nuggets. That was more like a truth bomb, which I love. Everybody is absolutely loving it. Let me say hi to Peter Feltham, who is in the UK, and looks like he said he just had the elections. Saved my outrage gland from triggering due to the lies and agenda that the media has. So I love that outrage gland. Mine needs to be calmed down. I absolutely love that. Real quick, who else do we have out there? Margarita's loving it. Nazim, Kim. Oh, hey, Dana Rivera. She's loving what we're talking about, too. So, guys, if you have any more questions, we're going to wrap up here. We can put it here in the comments because these two are going to be up in your grill answering questions as well. But I feel like we covered a lot of great things, but also just this overarching theme. Definitely, I've just chill your ass out. How you like that? How you like I just dubbed it down for everything? So, listen. We're going to segue, and then we're going to get to back crowd crazy. Then we're going to get the hell out of here, so we're going to do some more meditating. What's on the bottom? Does anybody want to show me what's on the bottom? Ooh, Julia. Hey, girlfriend. Woo! Yoga pants. That's right. Georgie.
Yoga pants. I got my stretchy compression breeches, which we determined in the green room are my binky pants because I got a perma hug on my legs and shins going on. So
big hug, exactly. Yeah. Hey, I'll show you what's on the bottom for me. This is for Ashley. I have my super booty skirt on because that's where I got it from.
Damn, she got some J-Lo going on back there.
What's up with that? What's on the bottom?
Yeah.
And I should turn the pictures on so people can do a what's on the bottom, but keep it clean, party people, so you can post over.
Might be asking a lot.
I know. I might be asking a lot for them to keep it clean. Exactly. So, okay, guys, let's wrap it up. Tell me what your call to action is and what you are bat crap crazy about.
Julia, you go first, please.
I am bat crap crazy about meditation.
Holla. I'm going to meditate on that.
Yeah, because for me, it's really the key to everything. It's the key to accessing peace. It's the key to accessing inspiration and guidance. It's the key to health. The meditations we do in pranic healing, like our staple meditation, we're blessing the earth using the prayer of St. Francis. That's a big divine downpour of energy that's cleaning me out. So that, I'm bat crap crazy about pranic healing because it's so powerful to bring the energetic piece in with the personal transformation piece and pull thought forms and energies out of the chakras that are related to limiting patterns and things we've had going on, anger and grief. So that's what I'm bat crap crazy about.
I love it, girlfriend. Where do you want us to go and what do you want us to do?
Yeah. So definitely circle me up, leave me a comment. I am moving now from the private, under the radar realm into the public realm. So you can go to my website.
Out of the closet.
I've got a landing page set up, so you can sign up for my email list at juliaaspinwall.com. So you will be the first to know when the doors are flung wide open.
Out of the closet on our maiden voyage. I love this. Hey, thank you so much. Thank you for being you. And I love, we did a meditation together. I will say, I also love meditation with other people. I kind of like that biblical where two or more are gathered. Pretty damn neat.
That's actually something I've been wanting to do on a private hangout. So if people are interested in that, please leave a comment or send me a PM because I think gathering together, it amplifies the energy. 7 people meditate together. It's like 100 people.
I'm so glad you're going to do that. That's awesome. Because Julie and I did that the other day on a private hangout. We did some stretching and then some energy clearing and some meditating. It was uber powerful. So good one, honey. Oof, I think you're onto something with that. All right, let's finish up with the brother from another mother. There he is. Georgie, what What's your bat crap crazy, and what's your call to action?
My bat crap crazy is, and I am a full-on monkey boy when it comes to what I call the remembrance. And so my bat crap crazy is also my call to action. The remembrance is remembering who we are, what we're here to do, and why we're doing it. And that requires us to slow things down, to start weeding the garden, so to speak, and pulling ourselves back out of the static, out of the chaos, so that we can get back into a space of remembering our primary and most essential relationship, which is with ourselves, with our heart, with our Creator, our God, and what I call, and what Rumi calls, the beloved, with a capital B.
Mm.
We're here to create magnificence, to live excellent lives, and what we forgot is that we are absolutely connected to source and resource. That's part of the remembrance as well, and that's part of what I call our new playground, playing and collaborating with people, is one, helping them to get back in their bodies, helping them to start weeding the garden of their mind and their hearts, so that they can start, one, hearing their own internal guidance to know, does this serve me or does it not? Also, by cultivating what I call singular presence and mindfulness, we can take full resource of our hearts and minds and direct them with laser beam focus on what our outcomes are. So my call to action is connect with me. Anybody and everybody who's interested in imagining more, imagining better, and then creating it and receiving it, they can have a complimentary consultation. We can see whether or not we're fit, we are a good fit to play together. And with permission, I'm going to drop in my link.
Yep.
All right.
Absolutely.
And
y'all need to get some of that.
And I've got a brand new program going on right now. It's called the 90-Day Path to Mastery. And as I said before, what I teach is what I'm doing. So I'm in the middle of a 120-day commitment of getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Every morning, 7 days a week, to get up and do yoga and start my day. And today's day 19, and it's kicking my ass and it's crushing my old reality. So let's frickin' play.
Love it. Boom, throws down the mic. Guys, that's it for us. I'm Mia Voss. You've been watching the Mia Connect Power Chat. We have George E. Green and his monkey, and Julia Aspinwall and her fabulous self. And that's it for us on the Spirit Juju Woo Woo show. We're going to have all the links here, and we'll see you on the next show. Thanks, everybody.
La Boomba.
La Boomba is right. Over in the UK, I'm sure you got a little bit of a election hangover, so we feel for you. If they didn't vote the way you wanted, we feel for you, and if they did, I'm sorry. Just kidding. How about that? All right, so George E. Green, let's talk about you. You are here in Boulder. You are my warrior man. What's going on? Let's hear about you.
I am George E. Green, CEO and creator of the Mindfulness Advantage Advanced Mentoring and Training Systems. And what's going on is we're figuring it out, and we're running along with each other, having fun, and getting reels.
For realsies?
For realsies, yeah. So one of the things I love to do is work with and play and collaborate with people like you and a lot of our friends in the audience, because part of what we're talking about with the call is what is inside of you that's dying to come out, that's living and breathing to come out. What is it that you're here to do or here to create? And it's all about living an exceptional life and a magnificent life. And we just don't have any more wiggle room to settle anymore. So it's time, as they say, as the young kids say,
Not a day that ends in Y that I don't use the clapper to start my show. Hello, everyone. I'm Mia Voss. You're watching the Mia Connect Power Chat. We're also streaming live over here on Meerkat, if you can believe that, because I figured, hey, what the heck? Let's try and bring in a bunch of stuff and break some shit. So, starting off with a swear word. How you like that? Listen, today we are talking about spirit, spirituality, chakras, meditation, breathing, and everything else in between, because it's all going to lead to a healthier life, which I'm loving. And I've got two amazing guests. Have you seen them in the film strip? Wave, my guests, my darlings. Yay! They are silent but deadly, and they're not going to be silent for long. Listen, guess what's working today, by the way? Comment Tracker is actually working. Can you believe? Look at this. Let's see how long before it breaks. Stan Bush, he got a seat. He brought the wine, cheese, and bacon. Hello. Hello, all. Stan, you had us at bacon. So then there's that. We also have, oh, Cheryl, she made it. She feels like coming home. Hey, Dave Pipe, is there a seat next to you? I love them both. Dave Pipe is like, let's give little Dave Pipe a hand real quick. Hold on. Let me get my clapper out. You know what? Yeah, I'm just going to do it that way. We're going to clap. Old school. What, my hands don't work? Nazim is here. Hi, brother. Coming in from Milan. I also have Pio Dalsin is here. We got a lot of Italian over here. I do believe you can actually make this one nobody touch anything. That's very, very true. All right, Marcus Dieterle, it's good to see you. It seems the front row is filling up, he says, and he is right. And again, go over and watch it on Meerkat if you want to see the back of my head, pretty much. So there's that. Oh, look who's here. My twinsy. Oh, girlfriend, I still have my necklace on in the front row with coffee in hand. Wink, wink. She's ready to get her learn on. I will say I saw that you posted a coffee mug that said there may be wine in this glass. I'm just saying. I agree 100%, and I do have my necklace on still. And we also have our sister here in Denver, Yvonne DeVita. You have the best shows. This one is especially valuable to me at this time. Can't wait. Guys, what do you think, my panel? Do you feel like there's a disturbance in the force in a good way, because I have to reference Star Wars, of what's going on in the world lately, just to dive into it, and then we'll get into intros. Give us your quick feedback on what you think is going on out there on a spiritual level.
I absolutely have been feeling this quickening and this accelerated pace of evolution, and it's kind of hard to decide, like, for how long? For the last 2 years? For the last 6 months? I don't know. All I know is that anything that's not in alignment with love, with me operating at my highest level, with being on purpose, is coming up and is not going away.
Gotcha. And when you say coming up, you feel like it's up and out, like, okay, like your universe is almost just not letting you get away with the crap that you used to be able to get away with that wasn't aligned with you, right?
Exactly. It's like
there used to be a rug and a broom that you could sweep stuff under, and then one morning we woke up and we're like,
what the?
Gone.
It's like the Big Lebowski when they take the rug. It really tied the room together, but you could sweep a lot of crap underneath it.
And just to build on what Julia was saying, my beloved and I sat with Wayne Dyer here in Denver a couple of weeks ago, and one of his core messages was, are you hearing or listening to the call, capital T, your heart's call, the universe, God's call? And, man, the trumpets are blowing, and people are hearing it, and sometimes it manifests as just a general unease or restlessness.
Yes.
The more present we are to ourselves, or the more curious we are, the more we're hearing the specifics of that. So there's a lot of movement. There's a lot of change, a lot of dissolution of old relationships, cleaning house, weeding the garden. And our job is just to figure out, have as much fun as we can, and enjoy the ride.
You know, I love that. I think a lot of people don't understand, or we forget that there really is about having a fun factor to it. You guys know that my show, or anything I do, even in business, that shit's got to be fun. And Lee, thank you for saying rude words right off the bat. He's hooked on the Voss. Thank you for confirming that you can be spiritual. I mean, literally on my Facebook page, by the way, it says, I'm spiritual, not religious, spiritual, not churchy, and I like to swear a lot. So now you guys know. But, you know, I love that. I think it is about just, like, yeah, has to be a fun factor to it, but we're all on raising the consciousness. So you guys are getting a taste already of what's going on. Let me read a couple more comments. Georgie Green, I'm going to have you introduce yourself, and then let's say hi to Okazi Kiaze. They're all talking to each other. We've got 24 people. So you on Meerkat, let's see where you're at, because we want to shout you out. Yeah, La Boomba. A few more. Mel, I love him to bits. Good day, everyone, and greetings from Brooklyn. Yeah, in the house. That is awesome. And my girl Carmen is here from Spain. She just slid in. She just flew in, and boy, are her arms tired. Excellent. And hey, let's give a shout out to everybody